Hi, my name is Karen Holmes, and I'm the founder and director of the World Peace Organization for the One World Government. But today I wanted to talk about the three potential futures that we have in the United States. And we're right at the crossroads now of, of a future that is still basically being questioned. It looks like Donald Trump is having a hard time with his court cases and all the different agreements he seems to be making to win the electoral college by having the states overturn the popular vote. It's okay. So we have a potential future with Joe Biden, and that seems very, very likely. But then we also have the plan for world peace. What I'd like to do is kind of step back a little bit and look at how each of those ideas play out. Uh, the existing structure, let's say Biden is working with the idea of the existing structure. He doesn't mind the idea of masks. He doesn't mind having um, having the experts come in and help him figure out how to solve problems. He doesn't mind having the existing structure like the UN or NATO solve problems and be part of that, the existing uh, international structure and domestic structure. And there are many, many good things about the existing structure. I'm not putting it down. The only problem with it is it doesn't necessarily know how to solve problems, and in many cases, it ignores the crisis and passes it on to future generations. An example of that is the idea of the vaccine. And the vaccine is actually uh, something that has been offering a lot of hope. But the vaccine, in a way, is a lot like relying on the United Nations to help us to bring world peace. It it can't function on a high enough level to be able to solve the problem, so it passes the problems on to future generations. The United Nations has been the hope of for the world, but it has a reputation, at least for a long time, of being not being able to issue mandates to actually stop the conflicts. So the charter has five main flaws that prevent it from functioning on a higher level. And I'll go into that in greater depth in other videos. So we have the possibility of, say, a civil war, Donald Trump starting a regular war, uh, and because it's his constitutional power, within his power to do that. Uh, but it'll be harder for him to do that because Joe Biden is also getting the intelligence now, and nobody's really in agreement for that to happen. So the other thing is like he could ask Russia to come in and help interfere with this, support the idea of Russia infiltrating into the United States, and uh, there have been the possibilities of doing that with like the NRA and the conservatives who are basically gung ho about defending the freedoms when they're not really they haven't really been lost. So the other alternative, so I go like this. We have three alternatives. We can go down into the power games. We can go straight ahead and ignore the crisis and go into the abyss, or we can function on a higher level and stand on the principles of, let's say, problem solving, doing what's in everyone's best interest. So, how does that work? We know what Joe Biden is capable of doing. I don't know if he's going to stand on the principles of the international government. I know he's aware of it because Barack Obama was aware of it and opened it up to debate amongst the international community. And the JCPOA was partially founded on that idea. And the plan helped to end the nuclear uh, run up to uh, the nuclear war with North Korea. So Kim Jong Un is aware of it too. Lots of people are aware of it, and they've tried to bring it about and make it happen, but without understanding certain principles to make it happen. And that's what my job is to introduce these principles. So to go up, let's say you have to do what's in everyone's best interest. So Donald Trump is trying to control the legal system to give him, let's say, the constitutional power based on the letter of the law. And let's say Biden will be standing on the principles of the intent of the law. And our organization is standing on the principles of universal law. And that is that it stands on the principles of everyone being equal. It creates a sense of balance. It gives everybody their unalienable rights and their freedoms. So it has the power to end wars, to end genocides, to end slavery. It ends all of the problems that are oppressive to the people. So in our world peace marketing strategy, which you can find on our website, you can see that there's 4 different groups of people. The schism has separated, that's tearing apart the world, is separating people into 4 different groups. And the first group stands on the principles. And we'll compare them for a minute to a family, a traditional family. The father of the family, let's say in a classic traditional family, takes the family at a certain level. The father, let's say, is a businessman or a working man or whatever, and by what sociological class he fits into, he pegs the family at a certain level. If he's very wealthy, it's at a higher level financially, but then there's also other issues associated with that. So we're just looking at a classic family. The mother basically decides is the, let's say, the power aspect of it. So if she is the kind of person who supports the family um, by by enabling the family to uh, go to college, she encourages college, good education, keeps the kids out of trouble, keeps them cleaned up, teaches them morals and principles and things like that. And the family functions on a higher level. If the family is basically, if she's just doing the job of a mom and ignoring the crises that the kids get into, oh, they're just boys, let them be boys, that kind of attitude. She's not teaching them things. Then the family just kind of goes down into the abyss again. Or if she's the kind of person who basically is not standing on any of the principles, abusing power, let's say, is a drug addict and is not loyal to the family, leaves the family in the lurch. That kind of person runs into problems with the power. Is the loss of power. So we're looking at that. The fourth group of people. So you have the one who stands on the principles. You have the one who's standing on power. Then the family is the children, and then the neighbors, let's say, or the extended family can come and interfere with that idea. The 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 extended family can come in, or the neighbors can come in and say, you should leave that man because he's not standing on very good principles. He's doesn't make enough money. You deserve a man who can have a better family. So you see how that can happen. They're functioning for their own interests. That's how the world peace marketing strategy functions. So everybody has a different thing that they want. And our world peace marketing strategy helps everybody get what it is that they want. It's like pathways that or portals that enable everybody to get their life. I think of it as kind of like a Disney cruise where people go and the dads all go off for a while and they do one thing, maybe golf over the sides of the boat, and the moms are all going to the spas and the kids are playing with all the fun things like the toys that they have there, activities. And then the other people function for their own interests, and maybe they go off by themselves or whatever, and they they do whatever they want. So it's not, there's no judgment here. I'm not putting a judgment on. I'm just saying that's how it works. When the family is in crisis, you really don't need somebody to tell you what to do based on their own interests. In other words, if we have Joe Biden and we have Donald Trump and then we have Vladimir Putin coming in functioning for his own interests, we don't need that in our country to do that. It plays it out the same on every level. Okay, so now where do we go from here? We have the World Peace Marketing Strategy that helps everybody function to get the life they want based on where they are. In a way, it's like the pathway into getting heaven on earth for people. The principles associated with functioning on a higher level are based on, let's say, the planning process, coming up with a plan that benefits everyone. When there's a crisis, somebody stands up, they see like a dark cloud on the horizon, and from their own area of expertise, they step up and they start offering a solution. They have a plan that benefits everyone, and then they start creating, not by default, but by intent. So our plan for world peace is very big and it benefits everyone. So imagine that everybody has to be able to get their life, and that's what the World Peace Marketing Strategy helps to do. And then it starts the process. But then when this opportunity comes up, then people can stand up and do that from their own perspective and their own understanding. People do that all the time already. But our plan basically functions based on these certain principles that are based on the planning process. If you know the root cause of a problem, with the planning process, you can find the solution. So imagine that if you were, let's step back and look at it from a different perspective again. If you are going down into the power games, like I said, like this, you're going down into the power games of revenge. Now, let's say that when you go down the bottom part, Dante said that the last wall of hell is revenge, based on revenge. Okay, you're pegged to the ninth wall of hell. You're going to just keep lashing out and getting revenge and doing this and bringing people in and character defamation and lying and weaving an illusion and dragging people backwards in their progress. Okay, so the middle one is when you're going along. let's say let's say you're an alcoholic or a cancer patient or a homeless or it's legal problems, and you get the point, you think what you're doing is working, and then you hit the point of the where you edge of the abyss, then you go down, then you stop when you realize that, hey, this isn't working. And then instead of staying down at the bottom of this, you start to work your way back up. It's a long, dark tunnel that you climb up. Okay, this is where Barack Obama was when he got into office. He, the country had hit the abyss. We were in a financial crisis. We decided he decided that he was going to bring together a bipartisan group, and then over his 8 years in office, he worked his way up. Our country started to rebuild its economy, and when Donald Trump got into office, he he took credit for a lot of the things that he really had nothing to do. It wasn't his policies that did that. Okay. And George Bush had his economic policies of the tax cuts and things like that, put the country into a crisis, this economic crisis, and a war, an unending war that was $1 billion or $10 billion, however much it was, every week, $1 billion a week, that's a lot of money to have it go on for year after year. So now the way up is to function to do what's in everyone's best interest, and that is to stand on these principles. So you come up with a plan that benefits everyone, that's based on the root cause of the problem, and then you come up with the steps and stages of the planning process. That's what my track our progress planning it's based on that same idea. It's not exactly step by step on how to do it. I tried to make the planning based on the 22 steps of the planning process, and I focus mostly on the stages of the planning process. If you know the root cause of the problem, you can solve it with the planning process. So the Archangel Michael at our prayer circle said, the difference between heaven and hell is that in heaven there's a solution to your problem. It's not that God is going to come and lift you out and solve all your problems for you. It's that God is going to tell you not what to do or do it for you. God is going to tell you how to do it, and then put the responsibility back on your own shoulders. The power games compensate for lack of power. But where does true power come from? It comes from assuming responsibility. So when you have a plan, you're assuming responsibility. God is putting everything back on your shoulders and giving you responsibility. And instead of relying on power games, you're actually starting to assume responsibility. And that's where you get your power back. So this is where we are. We're learning where true power comes from. Does it come from power games? Does it come from having the Constitution behind you telling that you can do anything you want, which is what Donald Trump said? Or does it come from actually assuming responsibility to solve some of these problems? Because right now, the government is in crisis economically. They've borrowed a lot of money to stimulate the economy, but it's not necessarily going to stimulate the economy. And the prophecy that we got years ago is that the government is going to start cutting social programs. So as you, on an individual basis, start to recognize how to solve problems based on this idea of assuming responsibility, that's where you will get your power back. That's where you will start to rise out of your crisis when you function from within your own capacity. Okay? Now, I was given, Lady Gaia, the female aspect of God, gave me a stack of cards. They're called root cause cards, and they address how to solve problems. They give you the root cause of the problem, and then with our books, the planning process books, we go in and we start to introduce project ideas. But these cards are unusual because, like the Constitution, if we put it in every country based on different cultures, at the end of 100 years, our Constitution would have 100 or 200 different legal systems. If we take these root cause cards and introduce them to people, anybody, they can come up with plans from their own area of expertise, and there'll be an equal number of different plans and projects based on the same idea. It doesn't matter. Like I said, the plan for world peace is based on two proven concepts, and anybody can come up with plans based on the U.S. Constitution and the cooperation of nature. They're open source. They're not my ideas. I just took these ideas, and the the creator of us all, told me what the root cause of the problem was, and I came up with a plan for world peace. But then they're the ones who told me about the project ideas and who was involved with it. In a future video, I'm going to tell you about the independent members of the organization and how each one is going to be part of this idea, how each one fits in. But you're welcome. If you can come up with better ideas, then we'll do those. We're going to demonstrate the potential of this. My plan for the track our progress, planning is online. It's on oneworldgov.org, and you're welcome to go check it out. And it's based on my talents and gifts. The framework exists. My project is based on my talents and gifts. And that's how this all plays out. Is I am one person basically who came up with it, started a prayer circle, and was told not what to do, but how to do it. And you're welcome to become part of this idea and share your talents and gifts with other people. That's how you become part. Now we're going to show you demonstrating this. You're welcome to look on our website and all of these ideas and get an idea about what you can do with your own idea. It has to stand on the same principles that all of our projects stand on, and that is also listed on our website. So every plan has to stand on the same principles, but you're welcome to do whatever you want as long as you don't interfere with anybody else doing what they want to do. And the reason for that is if you interfere, you're breaking universal law of doing to others as you would have them doing to you. And you can't get your life by breaking universal law. It won't work. It just doesn't work. It's not a judgment against you. It's just that it just doesn't work. So it won't work. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of this idea, and thank you for subscribing and uh, being part of this. Share the debate. Share the debate with family and friends because they want to know what's going on too. They want to see a way out of this too. Function on a high level. And we're not judging Trump or Biden or anybody else because they're right where they are. And each of them is doing what they think is going to help them get their life. People have to be squeezed to participate. And people are squeezed when what they're doing stops working. That's when they hit the abyss, and that's when they start asking for help. For world peace to come, people had to be exposed to universal law. And in a manual for peace, Seth starts out this introduction and says, for peace to come, half the population had to pray for peace. And then the creator could step in and help. Okay. So when we ask for help, then it's given to us. Share with other people. Share the debate. Thank you.